सेव किया था ना?
मैं सिर्फ इसलिए गया था क्योंकि उसने मुझे कॉल किया, that's it. But listen तो.
Save it for someone else.
जिंदगी में सेव करना जरूरी है, मगर जब बात पैसों की हो, सिर्फ सेविंग से काम नहीं चलेगा। इक्विटी म्यूचुअल फंड्स में इन्वेस्ट कीजिए और अपने सेविंग्स को आगे बढ़ने का मौका दीजिए।
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.
Hello and welcome to Political Adda, the Prince's weekly political show on an important political topic of the day. Today we'll be discussing the Congress party and the leadership crisis that it's been facing in many of its state units. Recently, Congress MP Shashi Tharoor, who's from Kerala and who also faced off against Mallikarjun Kharge in the recently held presidential elections, has faced allegations of factionalism from the Kerala Congress as he embarked on a 4-day outreach tour of North Kerala. Up north in Rajasthan, there's another leadership crisis brewing between Sachin Pilot and Rajasthan Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot, which the party is yet to take a decision on. So what we'll be discussing today is what is the future for the Sachin Pilots and the Shashi Tharoors of the Congress party, young leaders who still do not have a very clear place in terms of organization or their political role in the party. Joining us for the discussion today from the Prince political team, DK Singh and Abantika Ghosh. Abantika, I'd like to take the first question to you. So you've recently come back from Kerala. And this is the time when this entire, brouhaha about Shashi Tharoor was happening. What is the sense that you got from the ground in terms of what Shashi Tharoor, if he's looking at any kind of role in the Kerala Congress and the opposition to him that we have read a lot about, of course?
So before I come to what I sensed in Kerala, I want to make this one distinction that between Sachin and Shashi Tharoor, there's one big difference. Sachin has been a man in waiting for a long time, while Shashi Tharoor, on a path of personal political ambition, is only just starting out. So long he's a 3-time MP, and he's seemed so long before this foray into the Congress presidential elections. He's seemed like a man who's content representing Trivandrum as an MP and with his international profile and all of that. So in terms of personal ambition and in terms of this perception that he's seeking a bigger role for himself in the state politics, he's only just starting out. And having said that, there is actually the factionalism is not just in Kerala, in the Congress party here as well. Also because the way he met the IUML chief in Kerala during the tour, the kind of responses that his functions, even if the local Congress units or the youth Congress detached themselves, the kind of responses that his meetings got, there is this very strong feeling in a section of the party here and in the state that if there is a man with so much popularity, and Congress, let's just face it, it's seen far better times than these. So it is not in a position where it can really ignore a man with such popular connect, and also somebody who's so acceptable to IUML, which is its key ally in Kerala. In fact, IUML was quite upset with what Sudhakaran had said about RSS. That kind of did not go down well with them, and they made it known to the Congress. So I think Tharoor's journey is something that will play out in the coming days, and there are very strong feelings on both sides, but there is also a perception that there is a section of the party leadership here. By leadership, I don't essentially mean the Gandhis, because by Congress leadership, we always mean that. I don't mean that. But there is a sense that there is a section of senior leaders in the Congress headquarters here who don't seem to be comfortable with this in slight change in Tharoor's profile.
DK, coming to you. So, as Abantika pointed out, there is a difference between what is happening with Tharoor in the Congress party today and Sachin Pilot's position in the party today. Now, this whole face-off between Sachin and Ashok Gehlot, it goes back to 2020, when, he took a bunch of MLAs and came to Haryana, hold them up, but it didn't fructify. It didn't lead to anything. He still did not win the CM's chair. When Ashok Gehlot, it seemed, was one of the front runners to become Congress president and was establishment candidate, as we call it, there was a chance for Sachin Pilot to take his place in the Chief Minister's chair. Then we saw what happened on the 25th of September, which Gehlot himself has said has been one of the most embarrassing moments in his political life. And since then, even after Kharge has taken his position and taken charge as president, the Congress leadership in Delhi seems to be dragging its feet on taking a decision on the leadership crisis in Rajasthan. So how do you see Pilot coming out of it now? Because one thing is very crucial is that 2 years ago when he marched off from the Rajasthan Congress, he had about 18-20 MLAs. 25th September also there were just about as many who were supporting them. So one thing a lot of people who are observing the Congress politics in Rajasthan say is that Pilot also, after being PCC chief for 6 years and 2 years in the interim, hasn't managed to get a large part of the state Congress with him. So what do you see his future right now, and what do you see the High Command doing vis-a-vis this?
Expect Ashok Gehlot to just give up, because if he gives up now, it's like the end of his political career. If he was in the BJP, see, in BJP you can ask somebody to retire from active politics and you can send him or her to a Raj Bhavan, you can give him or her something else. The Congress has nothing to offer. Now for these people who have spent decades in the Congress, they have given the entire life, to expect them to just give up like that when there are no avenues available, that's a bit complicated. I mean, they can also say if Joe Biden can run the US at 80, why can't we? But problem is here again, because Sachin Pilot got a very clear assurance from the High Command that you will get your shot about a year and a half before the next polls. Now, problem with the Congress is they do not really have any plan for grooming their leaders. What we see in the BJP today. If you are here, you will become an MP, then you will become a minister, then you are on course to become, the face in the state. There is a grooming plan, and you see in every reshuffle, in every change in every state. So if you had T.S. Singh Rawat, Trivandrum Rawat, then now you see Dhami. It has been very smooth. Also because BJP is the ruling party and people who retire stick to it. Congress doesn't have it, but it's complicated. Sachin has his own expectations, and he's right. Gehlot is 71, and now he has to make way for some younger leaders. And Sachin has worked very hard. So even for the victory of the Congress in 2018, he was there. He was there on the road all the time. So his expectations are also valid. But how do you match the expectations of both? It's very complicated.
No, but also if he's worked hard,
the leadership comes.
Why doesn't he have more support within the PCC?
Look, when the CLP meeting happened, Ashok Gehlot was coming or expected to come as a Congress president. So people who went with him expected him to back them if it came to disciplinary actions against them. But now that they see that Gehlot is not going there, and today if Gehlot steps aside, and most of these MLAs will come around the High Command's view, whoever High Command wants. But point is, what it looks like, that both will be losers, because you cannot just discard Ashok Gehlot overnight. And Ashok Gehlot, if anything, whatever he has at his command, he will not allow Sachin Pilot to become the chief minister. It's very clear. So then how the way I think it panning out is, maybe if the High Command pushes, at some point of time Ashok Gehlot would like his points person to come there to succeed him. Maybe CP Joshi, maybe somebody else, but not Sachin Pilot. This is where the High Command has to show that leadership skill. They have to sit with them together, find some solution agreeable to both of them. That is not happening. There is total communication gap. After that CLP meeting, even Ajay Makan has resigned in frustration. There is no initiative from Delhi to actually broker truce between them.
No, on that point, DK, there's actually a very interesting question that's come in from Aditya. So he's asking, do you think the Sachin Pilot versus Ashok Gehlot situation would be a perfect replica of the Sidhu versus Channi-like situation, which can dampen the organization structure of Congress in the state of Rajasthan ahead of the 2023 assembly polls and 2024 Lok Sabha?
There are some common elements, there are some differences. For instance, Sachin Pilot is not Sidhu. Sidhu is a maverick politician. Sachin Pilot is not. Sidhu was a paratrooper in a way. Sachin Pilot is not. He has worked at the grassroots, he has worked for the organization for so long. So that difference is there. But where the common factor comes in both cases, the high command, and you should say Rahul and Priyanka, in fact, they have given the assurances to the contenders, to the challengers, that okay, we'll do this for you. So with those assurances, naturally, like, they are asserting themselves. And the Gandhis have to keep their words now. It didn't work in Punjab, but everybody knows what happened in Punjab. Rajasthan, if you talk to Congress leaders also, even today they say change or no change, Congress is not coming or not going to retain power. Talk to Congress leaders. It's a pretty bad situation for the party, and anyway, for decades, Rajasthan has seen alternate governments. When you are facing this and you are prolonging this crisis, of course, you should be looking at the Punjab example also, because in Punjab also you kept dragging until it came to a point where there was no option but for the captain to kind of give up, and Channi coming as a stopgap arrangement initially. It was like Channi was not being groomed as the successor. Suddenly you impose somebody. Rajasthan is going that way only right now, as it looks like. Because if you do not bring them together, convince Gehlot, give him something more, somewhere you have to find a solution. Just looking the other way does not take the crisis away from you.
And especially, I'd like to remind our viewers that with the Bharat Jodo Yatra, the Congress's mega Bharat Jodo Yatra entering Rajasthan in the first week of December, this also becomes an important decision that the High Command has to take, especially with some Gurjar leaders, which is the community that Sachin Pilot comes from, even threatening to obstruct the yatra in some way or the other if he is not named Chief Minister. So be as that may, there's another question from Aditya, which I'd like to take to you, Abantika, where he's asking, after not being named in the committee to overlook affairs of Congress and also subject to news of creating split in Congress, do you think the top leadership of the party is giving some kind of message to Shashi Tharoor that he has no role in the current Congress regime? And what can be his future course of action? Can he form a new party in Kerala? And how this situation might be helpful for the BJP in Kerala? So, 3 questions,
so
put
let me
together,
answer the last part first. So this was my second trip to Kerala, and my sense is that BJP has a long way to cover there. So no matter who comes or goes, I don't think BJP is not going to be the beneficiary. But see, the steering committee that has been formed as per the Congress constitution, it's a simple conversion of the CWC into a steering committee. So the entire lot of the CWC gets converted to the steering committee. Shashi Tharoor was not there, so Shashi Tharoor is not here. So it is not something that has happened because he fought Kharge or anything like that, because that's the sense that's being sort of given out, but that's not strictly correct. So the steering committee meets on 4th of December, they'll decide, and then the new CWC will happen when the plenary happens, I think sometime in February next year. So, so the basic premise of this question is, strictly speaking, not correct. So whether there is certainly a message being given to Tharoor. Now, whether that message is coming from the High Command or from people below the High Command, people who have a stake in Kerala politics, that is open to assessment, open to interpretation. That is different. There is certainly a messaging that is happening. From where is the question? That is.
But for example, he was also not named as a star campaigner for Gujarat, and that is also something that made the headlines. So, again, as you said, is it something that's restricted to the Kerala unit of the Congress where a certain section is against Tharoor? Or again, as I asked, is it something that's coming in from the High Command, from the Delhi leader?
Right. So, my conversations with really here, I have this feeling that there is a very strong chance it's coming from Delhi. Whether it is the leadership or not is the question.
See, what's happening in Kerala is, after your tall leaders like Oommen Chandy and Chennithala, they have been sidelined by the top leadership. There is a vacancy there for leadership. And everybody is actually positioning himself or herself for elections 4 years later. Now, in this, what is happening in Kerala is K.C. Venugopal, who is a close confidant of Rahul Gandhi, he is playing a major role because he is positioning himself as the next face. He was the one who got the new Congress president, the state Congress president. He was the one who got the new LOP. He wants to run the party, and this is where Shashi Tharoor has become an obstacle for him, because Shashi Tharoor is far more dynamic, far more popular than K.C. Venugopal. But given the kind of clout he enjoys in Delhi, he is able to disrupt all this, and he is the one going after Shashi Tharoor in Kerala, in fact. High Command, of course, I don't really think Kharge would be involved in all this, although Kharge should be intervening and trying to sort things out for Shashi Tharoor. I mean, he has to show more grace, more activism. He cannot give the impression that, he is sitting here and Shashi Tharoor is being disturbed, so entire blame comes on Kharge. But it's not Kharge is doing. What is happening in Kerala is the K.C. Venugopal trying to fix Shashi Tharoor in Kerala and not allowing him to grow beyond Trivandrum.
There's another question on Tharoor, and either of you can take it, which is again from Hitesh Nautiyal. He asks, do you think Tharoor will be an asset if Congress made him leader of opposition or gave him a position in the party decision-making structure? What if he replaced Adhir, for example?
That would be a fantastic choice, I would say, because Tharoor is a very good orator. And I have, long back, one of the speeches where, he was talking about how there was an accident, one school bus met an accident, and he gave a long speech on the state of education, like starting from the school bus. And you don't really get many MPs who really get into the root of the problem and take up serious things, such things which really matter to the people so much. He's a wonderful orator, and he would have, if he was even deputy leader in the Lok Sabha, he would have done wonders for the Congress. Because Adhir Chaudhary, he has been embarrassing the Congress far too often, and you do not have any speaker, say somebody like Manish Tiwari. He is there, but other than that, you do not have any great speakers in the opposition camp in the Lok Sabha. Tharoor would be a great asset if they decide to actually use him there.
Moving on to Rajasthan, again, there's some questions that have come in. Hitesh Nautiyal asks, if Congress made Pilot the CM face running up to the 2023 elections, do you think BJP will seek Vasundhara Raje's support post-election if BJP wins, or will she step down like Yadurappa? Another question from Yatharth Singhal, who asks, what is the maximum that Gehlot can do if the Gandhis or the leadership come out in public and, put their weight behind Pilot?
See, Gehlot has been a Congress loyalist all his life. So I don't really see him, what many conspiracy theories going on, like he may join the BJP. It's not going to happen. He may be sulking. He may decide to sit at home, not do anything. And even forming a new party is not possible. It's not so easy. You see what happened when Captain Amrinder Singh formed his own party. It's not easy forming a party and running it. You need a lot of resources, a lot of time, which Gehlot doesn't have. And at this age, he cannot do that. So he will decide to sit out and let them lose the election and sulk and then blame them. That's the best or the worst he can do. But beyond that, I don't really see him revolting against the leadership as such. He has been a loyal soldier of the Congress. I don't see him going that path. But in politics, of course, you can't rule out anything.
But if I may ask a question, I was listening to you, I was thinking, doesn't it make sense for Gehlot's political future, given that there's this thing that they will not win in any case, doesn't it make sense for him to actually step down,
Pilot,
give it up, sulk and join BJP? I mean,
and in fact, that's a very interesting question that Abantika has asked.
Sense.
Because I was speaking to some leaders in Rajasthan, and the sense on the ground is also that Gehlot may not vacate for Pilot right now, but say 6 months before the elections or 4 months before the elections, he may put Pilot in the position. So when the loss comes, it's Pilot's responsibility.
That would be an ideal situation. In fact, he should have asked Pilot to step in. He should have shown that grace and fine, I am going out. But then where does Gehlot go from here? He has nowhere to go. You lose the election next time. By the time next election comes, you will be 76, 77. So there is nothing to look forward to. As I said, if it was the BJP, because he has been pretty loyal to the party, all his life. We have never seen him actually revolting against the high command. Last was CLP meeting, yes, but again he himself decided to stay away.
So, like all discussions that we have on the Congress, there are a lot of questions about Rahul Gandhi and the Gandhis. First is specifically for you, DK. Sankalp asks, hello, DK sir. Rahul Gandhi is a gift that keeps giving to the BJP and off late to the Aam Aadmi Party as well. What will it take for the likes of Tharoor or Pilot to muster a coup d'etat with the INC? Shouldn't the party be alarmed that a newbie like Aam Aadmi Party and the regional parties are making a play for their 20% loyal voters? And the crowd at Bharat Jodo Yatra is meaningless without electoral results.
He's absolutely right. I mean, everything he's saying is right. But point is, Bharat Jodo Yatra, what is it turning out to be? We discussed about it earlier. It's becoming brand Rahul. But brand Rahul as what? Rahul a politician or Rahul a family man? So they have come up with this nutty idea of, inviting YouTubers to interview Rahul. No interview to mainstream channels or papers or digital sites, because they will be asking serious political questions. So they get YouTubers who ask him like, okay, who buys shoes for you? Then he says, oh, my mother or my sister.
But we also had people asking about how you eat mangoes. So that's a perfect foil.
No, point is you...
No, I mean, politically, it's a decent strategy.
You're trying to show that, he's a good family man, he's a good human being. Well, voters are not looking at a good family man or somebody who is who's loved by his mother so much, even now that he keeps referring to her. There was another question in the YouTuber in that interview. Question was like, do you think you are very handsome, very good looking? Then he said, I had gone to my mother with this question and she said, no, you are perfectly average.
Yeah, you're average, yeah.
So fine, I mean, you're coming across as a very nice gentleman, a family man, but this is not what voters are looking for. They want some hardcore politician to answer their questions, like what to do with their life, something that has to do with their lives, not with Rahul Gandhi's life. So the entire projection is wrong. And 2-3 political points he made, which have made headlines during the yatra. Just look at this. He talks about when he goes to Maharashtra, he starts talking about big projects going to Gujarat. Come on, your party is contesting in Gujarat and you are actually taking a dig at your own party there. Then he talks about Savarkar. I mean, you can't be walking with Aditya Thackeray and then hitting out at Savarkar. And the kind of popularity Savarkar enjoy, his name. For Maharashtrian, he is not just a Hindutva figure.
Yeah.
He's revered. So you go with Sena, slam Savarkar, trigger another controversy. Then you go with Medha Patkar. Gujarat polls are on, and you know what Sardar Sarovar project has done for Kutch, Saurashtra, even North Gujarat. They have changed millions of lives. And then you decide to go ahead with Medha Patkar. Obviously, the Prime Minister and all other BJP leaders are having fun talking about his association with Medha Patkar today. So if you want to be projected as a good politician, show some acumen there. All you have done, I have quoted just 3 issues. And all 3, you are damaging the Congress, you are not helping the Congress. You may be coming across as a good family man, but as a politician, you are coming as a very poor judge of the subjects you are dealing with.
No, but it sometimes seemed like the Bharat Jodo Yatra is kind of like a Vipassana retreat for Rahul Gandhi, where he keeps saying this is a tapasya for me. We are not worried about electoral results. And this is something that Congress keeps saying very often actually. It started with the UP elections and now they keep saying we don't care about electoral results.
That reminds me of Forrest Gump. If you recall, when he goes for the run, he says, one day I decided to go for a little run. But for no particular reason. That was the exact quote. I decided to go for a little run for no particular reason. That was Forrest Gump. And this is exactly what I am saying as the objective in this Bharat Yatra. What is Bharat Jodo Yatra? Somebody has to explain.
Actually, there's one of our viewers is asking the same questions. After this news of fights in different sections of the Congress party, don't you think it would have been a wise decision that Rahul Gandhi, instead of doing Bharat Jodo Yatra, should have visited all these states along with new party president and addressed their concerns?
That would have been ideal. But then again, there is some complexity here. See, if he starts taking Kharge along, Kharge would come out as somebody who is just a rubber stamp. He may be, but you don't really take Kharge along everywhere. So right now what he has done, like, okay, I am not bothered about what is happening in the Congress because I have taken this made this big sacrifice that, okay, fine, somebody else has become party president, so I am doing my own stuff, and I have left Kharge to his fate, to whatever he decides. And that's the strategy right now. But in fact, Kharge should be visiting states and sorting out problems. Unfortunately, Kharge is not doing that.
One more question again about the Gandhis. Aditya is asking, apart from Ashok Gehlot, Bhupesh Baghel is a leader, Bhupesh Baghel, Chief Minister of Chhattisgarh, is a leader who is quite active in national politics and quite famous in his state. Why doesn't the party involve him actively in organizational work? And does he share a good rapport with the current party president and the Gandhis?
Good God, I mean, I hope he's not wishing that Congress loses Chhattisgarh also. That's the only states Congress looks like in a very strong
seems
position.
like a retirement plan.
No, but to be fair, like if we have seen the Congress events over the past few months, whether it's the protest when Rahul and Sonia were called by the CBI and the ED, and all these big events that have happened, Azadi Gaurav Yatra and all, the two poster boys for the party really are their two chief ministers. So it's always Ashok Gehlot and Bhupesh
That's all you
Baghel
got. You got two CMs.
who walk in the front. But I would also like to point out that there is a slight difference in the way the High Command deals with Gehlot and the way they deal with Baghel.
Baghel was, and Rahul can claim that Baghel was his find because it was during his thing that he became the state chief. And he's a wonderful organization person for sure. But he has run the government also very cleverly. And if you go to Chhattisgarh today, you talk to the BJP, I mean, right now they're at their wits' end because this Baghel has taken total control over politics and governance. He is the one calling the shots there. Yes, he is moving around. So he was involved in Assam election. He has been involved in elections. Himachal he has been involved. So point is, but to expect him to take up some organizational role, that would mean like quitting as CM there. Why would he do that?
Next question, what would be a bigger miss for the Congress in the current set of assembly elections that are happening? Would it be not winning Himachal Pradesh or losing its vote share to AAP in Gujarat?
I would say not winning Himachal Pradesh, because even if you lose the vote share to AAP, what will happen? Next year you have 8 elections. From Tripura, Nagaland, Meghalaya to Karnataka, Telangana, Rajasthan, Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh. In all these states, AAP is nowhere to be seen right now. So even if they get a setback, AAP eats into their vote bank to an extent. Of course, AAP's propaganda machine is so strong that they would project it as their arrival on the national scene. But ultimately, next year's elections, it will be Congress, between Congress and the BJP, or some regional party in some states. So AAP is no more a factor. So AAP fine, it will be a matter of worry for the Congress losing its vote bank to the AAP, and AAP can build on it to do something much better 5 years later in Gujarat. But winning Himachal is more important because Congress has not won an election, an assembly election, since 2018 December. So it has been a long lean patch, and it's looking like a permanent loser. For 3 years you don't win an election. So they have to break that streak at least. And then besides, another thing is, everything has gone wrong for the BJP in Himachal. The kind of rebellion they had, even though the national president of the BJP is from Himachal, they got the entire thing wrong this time. I mean, you have about 25% of the seats where BJP rebels are contesting. It was all disorganized. There is a huge anti-incumbency. Despite that, if Congress does not win in Himachal, it means it just can't win. It has lost the appetite for winning. It's the best opportunity for them to capitalize on. If the Congress can do it in Himachal, I don't see the party doing it anywhere then.
True. I'd like to take a few final comments from both of you before we move on to the last question and towards the end of the program. After these set of assembly elections, Himachal and Gujarat, there will be a bunch of leadership decisions and organizational decisions that need to be taken by the new dispensation under Kharge. So, of course, there will be appointment of a new bunch of general secretaries. So those organizational decisions will need to be taken. And then there are these decisions that we were talking about with Rajasthan, for example, which are state-specific decisions. So once these elections end, A, how much will the results of these elections influence those decisions? And B, how do both of you think that Kharge should move forward with these decisions? Like, what are the things do you think he would be keeping in mind while making
I
those
think
calls?
Kharge is already moving forward with the decision. When Ajay Makan resigned, my hunch is, frankly, no congressman has told me, apart from some conspiracy theorists, that Kharge would be backing him, because Kharge was the one who had gone to Rajasthan for the CLP meeting and where he felt insulted because MLAs did not turn up. Now Kharge is the party president. Ajay Makan had no business just sending in his resignation letter suddenly out of nowhere, because Ashok Gehlot is leading the party's campaign in Gujarat. I mean, he is running everything. There is no way that the Congress High Command would take a decision on Rajasthan as long as the campaigning is on in Gujarat. So obviously there are things which are moving, whether Kharge is trying to pressurize the real High Command into acting or he is trying to get things moving. That is not very clear yet. But yes, in all these Gujarat election results will have, Congress gets another setback in Gujarat. Now it will reflect on Ashok Gehlot, or it will be made to reflect on Ashok Gehlot's leadership, that he ran the campaign and the Congress got decimated.
I think Kharge's biggest challenge is to come across to the party and to people outside to come across as his own man. That's his biggest challenge right now, to establish authority, to establish that he's not a puppet as is being made out. And from some of the conversations I am having, the High Command is, I've spoken to people who have actually been told by Sonia Gandhi that you have a new president now, why don't you take this to him? He's perfectly capable of taking decisions. So now, obviously, Kharge's challenge is not his alone. He will have to be, the High Command will have to let him do it as well. So I think that's the biggest challenge right now for Kharge.
But I think Kharge is not going to be as much a puppet as everybody thinks he will be.
Yeah.
Because he has nothing to lose now. He has to leave his mark, his legacy. If he decides to, there is nothing even the Gandhis can do to Kharge if he decides to assert himself. He is a Dalit leader who has come through an election process. You can't just throw him out. See, in 98, what happened? The way Sitaram Kesari was ousted. Sonia Gandhi had done the entire campaigning for the Congress in 98. And then when the party lost, the blame was thrust on Sitaram Kesari and he was ousted. But Sitaram Kesari was, again, you had this entire lot with the Gandhi family then, which is not the case now.
And I think an interesting point that Veer Sanghvi made in one of the articles he wrote for us is that once any politician is given a certain kind of power, there's no such thing as eternal gratitude or eternal enmity in politics. So that's...
In 89, he was accused of this, being involved in that St. Kitts forgery case to fix VP Singh and his son. He was such a loyalist to the Gandhi family then, he went out of the way to fix them, allegedly of course. But once he became the Prime Minister and the Congress President, he came on his own.
And that's a natural course that we have seen throughout history. Last question before we end, DK sir again addressed to you by Ved Chavan, who says, hi DK sir, do you think Prashant Kishor could go to the Congress after the Congress badly loses all elections in 2022 and 2023 as well?
Mind you of what Prashant Kishor said a few weeks back. He said, the Congress was the one who broke my winning streak and I'm not ready to get drowned with Congress.
No, but then he was also trying to woo the Congress for 3, 4 months, 6 months with his 600-page presentation.
No more, because he has realized he gave such a big presentation. And I'm not sure how much of that is being already implemented without Prashant Kishor getting any credit.
No, so that's the joke, that they kept the presentation, they just didn't like the person.
I don't think Prashant Kishor is coming back to the Congress. No.
Okay, all right. On that note, thank you for watching this episode of Political Adda. We will be coming back next week with a new episode. In the meantime, of course, our Political Bureau will be keeping you up to date with all the latest political happenings in India. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be back next week.